coming.
Oh, thank you, Rebecca. I'm glad to be here.
Can you tell us a little bit about what does it mean to be a tantric master, and what is that work, and how did you come to it?
Well, originally I started out doing a lot of body work about 20 years ago, and moved from that into doing a lot of spiritual mentoring and working with people around their spirituality. In the process of that, one of the things that I discovered was that most of the people had a very difficult time holding energy, maintaining energy in the body. And for the most part, spiritual awakening is directly a result of how much energy you can maintain. So from there, I started to look at what were the reasons why I was being able to maintain a lot of energy. And one of the things that it became quite evident really early on was that it had a lot to do with my tantric background, and that sexuality was at the base of everything. If you look at spirituality and sexuality, you would say that sexuality or sex is like the caterpillar, and the butterfly is spirituality. So at that point, I started developing different types of bodywork techniques, and then looking into the dynamics that go on between men and women as a way to start allowing both the people that were coming to see me, both men and women, to start holding more energy and allowing themselves to be able to accumulate energy so that their spiritual awakening could happen.
And the premise, of helping people to learn how to hold their energy, did you find that men and women were holding their energy differently, and you wanted to work with men to transform the way they held it, and women? I mean, I know you're doing a lot.
Well, it was very interesting what I originally noticed, and that was that basically men ran their energy a particular way, and most of the women that I encountered ran their energy similar to the men, meaning that in a lot of ways, the whole aspect of the feminine was not being represented. It was not being brought forth, not in the men and not necessarily in the women. It was interesting. I even had some conversations with Chinese herbalists and with acupuncturists, and they even spoke to me saying that whenever they were working with people to open the yang energy in the body, the people loved it. But when they began to open the yin energy in the body, invariably the people just stopped coming, because it meant being able to feel again. It meant being able to allow energies to move through your body differently, whereas the yang energy is more head-oriented, more action-oriented. People are really up for that. When it starts to get more intimate, then people start to become a little uncomfortable, and in a lot of cases just will stop whatever the treatment is.
So you're saying that the yang energy that men were operating from was being mimicked by the feminine, and so the feminine yin was not able to come forward.
Exactly. It was almost as if in this society we only honor and look up to and see as being valuable the male approach to life, and the feminine approach, or the woman's approach, is totally being left behind. It's not even being acknowledged even by women, and there's no payoff. There's even no payoff for the woman to even develop that side of herself.
And even less of a payoff for the man.
Oh, totally no payoff for him at all, unless he's a man that is more sensitive. And in a lot of instances, what will happen then is that he will forsake his maleness for his feminineness.
And so the work that you're doing with men is about trying to bring both of those more into balance?
The work that I'm doing is about bringing those more into balance.
You just finished hearing the voice of Shantan Nitiyama. I'm Rebecca Walker. We're discussing What Makes a Man as part of a month-long series exploring the redefinition of masculinity with Shantan Nitiyama today on Hard Knock Radio. So when you're working with men, what are they saying? What are they needing? Do they know that they're out of balance, or are they just, what's going on there?
Well, one of the things that I utilize a lot for the men that come, and for women that come too, is that whatever type of individual you are attracting in your outer world is actually letting you know what your relationship is to your own internal, like for a man, his internal feminine. The type of women and the type of feminine interactions that he has is a reflection of how he is relating to his own internal feminine, and vice versa for the woman. And so even in some instances where the man will just like stop interacting with the outer feminine, or the woman will stop interacting with the outer masculine. Well, there's a conflict inside. They're wanting to go in one direction to the exclusion or to total avoidance of the other. Balance doesn't happen that way. So regardless to what our love preferences are, the need for the internal balance is, you never get away from that.
So for the let's say for the men out there who are listening today and they're thinking, okay, so I gotta get in touch with my inner feminine, and the woman I'm with is a reflection of how I feel about my inner feminine. What do they do with that? How to work with those ideas so that they can really understand the potential benefit of bringing that kind of harmony, especially in a world in which that is so not rewarded for men?
Well, first of all, let me explain a little bit about what the dance between men and women kind of is. First of all, for a man to come into a woman's life, he actually brings a certain level of clarity if he has done his spiritual work, has done his mother work, and gotten to the point where he's freed his mother up to the larger context and no longer being dominated by that energy in his life. So once he has done those primary things, then he comes into contact with a woman. He actually can stand present with her and allow her to reflect all of the insanity that the woman takes in this society that we live in. She can project all of that onto him, and he can stand there and say, yes, this, no, not that. And one of the reasons why the woman ends up receiving so much of the insanity is she's a receptacle. Things are deposited into her. She receives energy on a mental plane and then brings it back out. So if you've got a society that's totally insane, then it's like on a mental level, there's garbage into the woman, garbage out. So until men are starting to create some totally different level of communication with the woman, what is real and what is not real, because there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation here. No one's bringing any clarity. So as a result, the woman is like floundering. She's in chaos inside in a lot of instances. All these different situations and forces and energies all clamoring around inside of her, and her attempting to make sense out of them. This is really what the male principle is about. And so it's not even about relationships or not even relationships. In fact, I don't even particularly like the term. And if the male principle brings the quality that it brings, and the feminine principle brings the quality that it brings, then there is a synthesis that goes on that allows wholeness in all of us.
So wait, though, but what's the women? What are the women bringing? You're saying the women are basically bringing chaos and confusion, and the men are bringing the clarity.
One way to look at it would be like the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. One is bringing, lets you have your outer action, but the feminine side is actually taking care of all the organs, runs every single thing that is going on in the body, is so never misses a beat. The foundation. If that even falters for a second, it really does not matter how strong the male aspect of the individual is, they're going down. So the feminine is the ground. That is the love. That is the glue. That is the being with what is very immediate in life. Men tend to float out in their clarity stuff. They can go way, way out somewhere and forget about immediate things. You see it every day in relationships between men and women. The man, he could forget to pay the rent. But the woman, she's much more immediate. She is making sure that there's food. She's making sure that the things that sustain life are taken care of. And we really need her more in positions of power within our society. The society would function much better if the woman was the caretaker of the society. Man is a poor caretaker.
I think we're seeing that pretty clearly.
Oh, everywhere.
So this process for men of coming to a place of clarity where they can then come to the table and really help